What's up, everybody? Welcome back. You could literally be doing anything else right now, but you're here with us and we appreciate you. So whether you're listening or watching, thank you. Thank you so much. As always, I'm Jizzy, your hostess with the mostest, and with me every week is my lovely co-host, Harleen.
Hello. Well, thank you so much, the hostess with the mostest, Jizzy. It's always such a great intro.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So what a day, what a day. I was late today and I screamed my face off before coming to the studio because I broke a glass. But anyways, that's another whole story. But for those that are just tuning in, we are Jizzy right here and Har. We're just two moms keeping it real, creating a safe space for moms and dads, or anybody who's just raising kids, because grandparents or anybody or aunts and uncles that are probably raising children too, to share the honesty and the realness that comes with parenthood, while being able to laugh at ourselves, because there's days where you got to scream like Har today. And you have to laugh at just certain things because there's no manual in parenting. So don't forget to give us a little bit of love. Give us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it just so you can get all of the notifications when our podcast drops. And also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. So we did back-to-back recordings this week. So we were in the studio last night. I was home at like 9, and then I had to work again, and I didn't get to bed till like 1:30. Then I woke up at 7 to get my kid ready for school, and then I worked again, and now I'm here. So I apologize for what's going on over here because I'm tired, but I'm 100% here. I'm ready. I'm excited, as I am every time we have to record. But I'm not one to complain because I have one kid, and today our guest has 3, and she had them all at the same damn time. And she's here with us today, and she doesn't even look as sleep deprived as I do. So let's welcome Aileen Macaraeg.
Aileen.
Hi.
Wait,
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Oh, I just finished asking you because I feel like, because I've known you for a while,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been calling you the wrong name for the longest time because there's Aileen.
Yeah,
So
Do you get that a lot?
I do. And I'll respond to either, and I usually don't correct. So maybe you have been, and I just never said anything.
You're just like, meh.
It's okay. It's no big deal. But when you throw the Filipino accent in there, it's like,
It doesn't make a difference.
Wait, what is the Filipino accent to your?
Hoy, Aileen,
It's Aileen.
right? So then they
It's
don't
like
know how to say Aileen, so I just respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, by the way, these ladies were having an interesting conversation about Aileen, about her house, and our producer Brian was talking about like describing her house and like
oh, do you live here?
and
Does your
like-
house have da-da-da?
yeah. So that's kind of creepy, Brian.
Threw me off a little bit. I wasn't quite
Yeah,
sure.
me too. I was like, stop making our guest uncomfortable, Brian. And then later, much later, he was like, oh, it's because I know your husband. And I'm like, okay, you could have led with that.
Well, thank you, Aileen, for joining us. You look fantastic. You're originally from Winnipeg.
Yes.
You moved to Calgary. Now you're headed to a new adventure with your family, and you're going to move to Vancouver. Or was it BC or right into Vancouver?
We're going to Langley, so just
Okay.
in BC.
Well, that's still classified Vancouver.
Basically, yeah, Vancouver, yeah.
So, tell us what your house is like right now with triplets, moving, your husband, your job, COVID. How are you managing? And how are you really?
For real.
I'm tired, just all the time.
I'm here
So,
right with you. I'm
right?
so tired club, tired moms club.
That's what it is. It's just different levels of tired depending on the day and how much caffeine I've had for the day. So it's exhausting right now, and I'm just trying to get through one day at a time, trying to figure out what's the next thing that needs to get done, like what's the date today. I totally missed out on school interviews. I guess those are happening later this week, and I had no idea. The kids don't have school on Friday. I just found out today. So, like, you know, all these things that jump out at you that you don't really take into account because there's bigger things happening in life.
Besides you moving and doing all these things, have you forgot, like, when your kids have gone to school, like, have you legit forgot to do something because you forgot to look at the calendar? Take notes on this, Jizzy, because it makes you feel like a piece of shit of a parent when that happens. And it's the one thing, and you always, like, your kid doesn't even care. They're like, whatevs, you know? But it just, you are constantly like, oh my God, I'm such a bad mom. Like, how can I not forget that? Or how did my kid feel like they didn't bring something or do something? Like, besides happening now, did it happen before?
Oh, 100%. Like crazy hair day? Sorry, I have no idea. Red shirt day? Well, why can't you just wear any shirt? Why does it have to be red?
Yeah.
And it's like every other week is a different color shirt.
No way.
It's like red shirt, blue shirt, orange
But are there
shirt.
reasons, or they just say, hey, put on a red shirt?
Sometimes there's a reason and sometimes there isn't. And most of the time, my kids just wear what they're wearing. I really try to be present, but sometimes it's really hard.
But and then there's 3 of them. So, and you were just telling me before we started that they're always in the same class. So they're always doing the same thing. So if you forget one, you forget all 3.
Yeah.
Okay, because you have 2 girls and 1 boy. Yeah. Do you, and by the way, your kids are very freaking stylish. I like see all these posts. I'm like, damn. Do you dress the 2 girls? Or do you kind of like match them like with certain things when they go to school?
It depends, but they like to dress the same right now. So I let it happen. And they are very much like, Mama, just tell me what to wear. Okay.
Aww.
So I'll usually have like a theme. So if they're wearing overalls, everyone's wearing overalls. Or if everyone's wearing blue, then Nixon, my son, will also wear blue. So it just depends on the day. But I try to be mindful of that. And then I throw in one different color for the girls, like a different hair tie or a different headband for the teacher, because I get specifically asked to find a way to tell
differentiate.
them apart. Yeah. Because the girls are identical. So everyone gets super confused. So I try to change one thing off of what the girls. Yeah.
Yeah. So has it always been like that since they were babies then, like how you dress them and how you pick what they're going to wear?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
really
kind
cute.
of been a thing. I don't know. It's hard, right? Because you're right, going to the same place, going to the same school, seeing the same people. So I try not to disadvantage one over the other. No favorites. You know, everyone's the same. So.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you and your husband, Lawrence, how long have you guys been together?
We've been together since the end of 2003. So what is that?
That's a long time.
It's 17.
17 years?
Yeah, it's about 17 years. And married for 13.
And how old are your kids?
They're 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you got the hang of it now, I think.
So let's retract a little bit. How did you find out, you guys were probably obviously trying. How did you find out you were pregnant? And then you found out you were pregnant. When did you find out, oh my God, I'm having triplets, not just one? What was going through your mind?
It's been it's a crazy long, Lawrence was working overseas a lot when we first got married. And so obviously kids was not going to happen. He would literally be gone 210 days of the year.
Oh my God, that's
so we
a lot.
barely saw each other. And then when he came home and was like at home and actually here, we actually had 2 miscarriages prior to having the triplets. And so when I found out I was having triplets, it was early. It was like at 6 weeks. And I was like, I knew I was pregnant, which was awesome. But I ended up bleeding. So I had awful anxiety and just flashbacks to the whole the whole trauma of it. And our miscarriages were pretty far along. One was at 10 weeks and the other was a bit early, around 6 weeks as well. So when I started bleeding, I was devastated because I was like, well, here we go again.
Yeah.
So we go to the hospital and they do blood work and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, no, we have to do an ultrasound. We can't tell. So we're like, okay. So we wait for the ultrasound and the technician comes in, doesn't say anything. I swear for 20 minutes.
Even though she knew?
Right.
That bitch.
I was like, okay, are you going to tell me? What's happening? She's like, oh, I need to call your husband. Here we go. It's like, oh, okay, deja vu. Just call him in, sit us down, tell us, it's over. Easy. So Lawrence came in the room. We were both so sad because we already knew what was going to happen. And then she's like, oh no, I have to call the doctor in. I was like, okay, because you can't see anyways. So doctor comes in and they are both not saying anything. So Lawrence is funny, yo, are you going to say something? Can you tell me what's happening? And so they're like, okay. So put the thing and they're like, oh, there's a heartbeat. And it's like at 6 weeks, it's like this little flutter.
Flickering, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, like we're pregnant.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And so I was like crying and freaking out. He was super happy. He's like, oh, thank God. And then they're like, oh, no, there's a second heartbeat. I looked at Lawrence. I'm like, oh my God, we're having twins. He's like, okay, like, that's good. And they're like, no, actually, there's a third heartbeat.
Oh my God.
The smiles disappeared. Like, it was just stoic. And Lawrence is like, I need a chair.
He's like, we only ordered one, thanks.
And he's like, I'm gonna fall over. Just give me a chair. They ran, grabbed a chair, and we just both kind of sat there and looked at each other, and we're like, Are you serious right now? Like,
Yeah.
So it took us a while, and we ended up. It was all fine. They're like, no, your blood work shows that you're very, very pregnant. We just weren't sure how pregnant you were.
Yeah.
And so it was just an external bleed on the outside of the placenta, and it was fine. And yeah, and that's the beginning of like, holy shit, we're having triplets. Like, whoa, what are we going to do with ourselves?
So did multiples run in either of your families then? Like, or were you just floored? Like, how the hell did this happen?
No, actually in my family.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Like my dad's side has boy-girl twins.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think 2 or 3 sets of them. And then my mom's
Wow.
side has identical twins.
Okay.
2 sets of identical
So
twins.
that's crazy. So you'd mentioned you had 2 miscarriages. What did that feel like, especially when Lawrence was traveling so much? Did you feel like you were so alone because you just needed your husband at the time?
It's like the hardest thing. Like, just, it's almost like you're questioning yourself, right?
Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Why can't I carry? Like, what is seriously wrong with my body that I cannot hold a baby? Like, it was awful. And every time, like, he would be excited because we were pregnant and he would be so happy. And then I'd have to tell him. And then that was, like, for me, the worst because there's nothing he can do to make me feel better. And there's nothing I can do to fix myself. Like, it was just, like, this never-ending cycle of just heartbreak and hurt. And, like, it was an awful part of our marriage, like, where we're both like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll try again. And then, when you try too much, it's like, it's not going to happen.
It's like a chore, right?
Yeah. And you're like, okay, this is not fun anymore. Like, stop.
Yeah.
The doctor's like, just open a bottle of wine and enjoy yourselves. Like, I don't want to drink. I just want to get pregnant. Like,
for sure.
So.
Yeah, it's easier said than done when people... And we had a guest on, it was Barbara. I don't know if you know Barbara DeLeon. No. But she was trying for a long time, and she was also questioning herself, like, what's wrong with me? And as a woman, you feel like that's one of the... like your purposes in life is to bear a child, right? And when you really, really want it and it doesn't happen, it's like, of course you get down on yourself. But lucky for you guys, you got 3 little miracles.
My mom always says it's like God just gave you everyone back.
Yeah.
Like, all at once.
Aww,
and then some.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I know with every pregnancy, you have to prepare. Like you find out and you're like, okay, cool, we're having this baby. So what huge changes did you have to make now that you guys were having 3?
Well, first I had to eat enough for 3. So that required 6,000 calories a day.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What did you eat for 6,000 calories?
I tried to eat like steaks and like meat. The kids were not having meat. I couldn't. Okay, I have this secret love affair with cheeseburgers that my husband knows about. Like me and cheeseburgers, we go way back. Like
way before you and me and cheeseburger before me and you.
Right? Every day, give me a cheeseburger. And it just was not happening. So 6,000 calories of like fruits and vegetables and, anything that I could ingest and try to hold down was what I had to do for the babies, not myself. So
was that hard because you had like aversions and there was stuff that you couldn't keep down and stuff? So did you see a nutritionist or what did the doctor say?
I had to go on diclectin. I think that's what it's called. It's the one that makes you hold the food in, like you don't get sick.
Yeah,
right?
I had to be on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to take that basically my whole pregnancy because I couldn't keep the calories down. So it was just a matter of the doctor was like, just eat. Whatever you feel like eating, just eat. I did eat a lot of sushi because that's what I was craving and I really needed it.
Yeah.
So I ate it and it was fine. I just whatever I was craving that day, that's what I was eating.
Yeah.
And
And as
a lot
long
of
as
it.
you're fed and your babies are fed, like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, yeah. And I drank a lot of milk, which it was weird because I'm lactose intolerant. So for whatever reason, I drank milk and ate a lot of ice cream. But
That's just so weird how your body goes through all these different changes. Like, it's like you're lactose, then all of a sudden you're like guzzling milk. Like, it's just like our body is just so what's this word I'm trying to say? Resilient. They're resilient to like every single change of our life through the life cycle. We go through the stages and stuff. So obviously you had those kinds of complications. Was there any other complications throughout your pregnancy and when you were giving birth? Did you have natural birth? Did you have a C-section? Like,
yeah, I had a C-section. So like throughout the pregnancy, it was okay. I went on bed rest at about 24 weeks. And just literally like incubated babies. That was my job, was to eat and incubate. And so I sat on my butt. They were born at 34 weeks. So it was one of those things where you're just like sitting and waiting. For babies to come. Yeah. And then I had to go for ultrasounds like every week after 27 weeks. Just to make sure. And like they were really good with making sure that we were aware of the high risk situation that my body was going through and the babies were going through. One of my daughters was stuck in my pelvis for like the last 6 weeks of the pregnancy because there was nowhere to go. So she was like head down, stuck in my pelvis. She was fine, but that baby was the one that we had to monitor heart rates and like blood going through her brain, like all these different things. Which was really stressful on me because I'm like, oh, like the way I'm sitting is going to crush a baby's head. Like, I don't know.
And with all the trauma you've already been through, I'm sure that was really nerve wracking. You probably lost a lot of sleep over that.
It was real. Yeah. Aside from not being able to sleep because I was huge. It was the stress of making sure that the babies were safe. Right. Yeah. And so I was like, I can't mess this up. Like I was putting pressure on myself with everything that I'd already gone through. So it was a hard time.
So let's fast forward. The babies all have come out.
Yeah.
A two-part question. So how did you prepare for those babies to come home? Because let's be real for 1 second, having kids is expensive. So when people throw you baby showers, now you need 3 of everything.
Yeah.
So how did you prepare yourself after the delivery going home? And then what your life or what are you going to do once the babies were home? Like, how did you guys adjust?
Yeah, it was tough. Like it was just all insane. Just we had 3 of everything. For me, it was a big mental game because of the previous miscarriages. I actually didn't talk to my belly a lot. You know, a lot of women talk to their bellies and like talk to the babies. I actually didn't do that as much as maybe I wanted to because I was so afraid that they were going to be taken away from me, right?
Yeah. So you didn't want to be like attached.
Yeah, because I just couldn't put myself in that situation. So I knew I had triplets and I knew I had babies and people would touch my tummy all the time and that kind of thing. But for me, the biggest thing was just waiting. And so at about 32 weeks, the doctor was like, I hope you're ready. The babies are going to come soon. Like, you need to be prepared. I looked at Lawrence. I'm like, oh, we should probably go get a crib. Like,
oh, you didn't even have a crib at 32 weeks.
Like, we had stuff from a baby shower that our family had thrown us. So we had like strollers and baby seats and things like that. But I was like, you should go get a crib. They need somewhere to sleep, you know, if they come. Like I was still
skeptical.
Like I was so messed up in the head that I was just like, hey, like the doctor says they're coming soon. So you should probably put up a crib. Yeah. So it was one of those things where until I saw my babies, until I knew they were there, it was hard for me to be like, hey babies, how's it going in there? So
you didn't feel that sort of attachment until like you actually knew 100% that they're your babies.
Yeah, they're there
forever.
Yeah. And it was hard, even delivery, right? Like it was, let me tell you about my delivery.
Yeah, tell us.
The little party that was in my room. We came in and it's a C-section. Obviously there's like too much going on in there.
Yeah.
I had 2 anesthesiologists. I had a nurse and a head nurse. I had 5 doctors delivering. Wow. I had the residency, students that were learning. I had nursing students that were learning. And then each baby had a NICU team of 4 in case. So we had to have like a birthing plan of like who makes the call if we need to make a call on a situation that could potentially happen. There's too many factors that could, harm the baby, or you just don't know with the high risk pregnancy. And so, yeah, everyone was there to see the birth. It was
a party, like you said. Yeah.
Literally. And so when they were delivering, they were literally like pushing the babies out of the way to be able to like push my stomach up and then do the incision to get the babies out.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any of the babies. Like Lawrence could see them getting wheeled away. And it was like none of them cried. So I was freaking out the whole time. I was looking at Lawrence. I'm like, the babies didn't cry. None of the babies cried. Like, what's happening with the babies? And at that point, he's like, no, they're okay. I have to go. And he had to leave to be with the babies in case he needed to make some sort of call, like if someone wasn't breathing or whatever. So he had to leave me. So I was just hanging out when I was getting stitched up, like, hey guys, how's it going?
Wow.
So it was one of those where like, it was just so stressful, I think, for both of us, just to make sure that the babies were okay. But it ended up being okay. They're all home, and they were all home and healthy after 4 weeks of NICU time.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's awesome. I mean, like, what a story. Because Har and I both had C-sections. For me, it was like I was laying there and I didn't even know what was happening. I just was hoping, obviously, she was okay. But then I heard a baby cry and I was like, God, whose baby is that? That's so annoying. And they're like, that's your baby.
Mine was such a blur because as soon as they wheeled me in and like I don't know why I want to say IUD. It's not an IUD. It's
Epidural. Yeah.
God.
Well, for C-section, you need an epidural.
So I was shaking and I was I felt like I was going to vomit. Everything was such a blur. And then the babies come out and then I was out. Like, I was out cold. Like, I went to sleep and I woke up and then I can just hear doctors saying, oh my God, I think she has an allergic reaction. And then I was like, just get me a warm blanket. They're hives, okay? I just want to go to sleep. So they thought I was having a reaction, but it was actually because when my skin, like, because I get hives and it's hereditary. So yeah, that's like, it wasn't like the greatest experience. But it's not about me. So my question for you is, the moment that you got to hold all 3 of them or each one of them, describe the feeling.
it's surreal, like just magic. Like, I grew you all in my belly. Like, to me, that it was the most incredible feeling. Like, and seeing them, they were really little. So seeing them, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, you're tiny, and I made you.
How much did they weigh when they came out?
They were 2.5, and 3 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So they were little, but good size for triplets, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just so tiny. And, babies are like super cute when they're born. Mine look like little aliens.
Well, they were tiny. Yeah.
They were so small. And
Yeah.
like, Lawrence could hold all 3 in his
Just
hand.
like this?
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
wow.
they were so little, and it was amazing just to see them, right? And just to touch them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what, like, oh, I'm a mom.
Yeah. And that's what you were waiting for, is to
Forever.
finally just celebrate the fact that these are mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get to stay at the hospital with them, or did you go home first and then they had to stay, or were you there for 4 weeks?
No, I had to go home.
Okay.
But first we delivered at Foothills, and it's like a high risk. But after a few days, the babies were doing so well, they had to transfer them out to Rocky View.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're going to keep you here. And I was like, yeah,
What?
no.
Wait, what? They
You're
wanted to
not.
transfer your babies and
Yeah.
keep you.
Yeah. Because I,
Fuck.
yeah, right? I was like, no, those are my babies. So either you transfer me or you check me. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
See ya. And they're like, no, because I had a blood transfusion because I wasn't generating enough. And so they're like, no, you had a blood transfusion. Like, it's not safe for you to go. I'm like, well, no, then you either send me there and with my babies, or I'm leaving. And they're like, well, actually, I'm like, no, I'm telling you how it is. Like, either that or I'm gone. They're like, okay, well, it's not advisable. I'm like, I don't care what you're telling me right now. You're taking my babies.
Oh wait,
So-
how can are people fucking mentally stupid? I mean, it's really common sense. You don't take a mother and their their newborn
Yeah.
and separate them. Like,
Yeah, no. And so my husband's like, you should just get the paperwork and let her go because she'll just walk out. Like, I'm telling you, my wife is crazy.
And
That's
that's
true.
where your mama bear claws came out.
And I'm like, no, too bad, so sad. So I ended up getting discharged and I went with the babies. And so they stayed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks. So like every week we had a new baby at home.
oh.
And it was one of those,
It's like one by one they came home.
So you
Yeah.
got to bond with each one individually.
Yeah. Like my son came home first because he was the biggest. And then one of the girls. And then my little daughter who got stuck in my pelvis. She had to stay the longest. But yeah.
So they're at home when you brought them home, and then you realized you were outnumbered. How did you guys deal with that? Like, did you have any help at all?
No. So we did most of everything by ourselves.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, and I breastfed, so it was like a cow for like the first
You're a
7
milk
months.
machine.
Oh my Lord. Man, things they don't tell you at school.
Right?
Like they need to start teaching you stuff. Like you don't want to do this to yourself.
Yeah.
It's hard. No, so we didn't have much help. Like my mom came out for the first 6 weeks when the babies came home from the hospital.
Yeah.
To help out, but she was working. And then it was just me and my husband. And so I cried a lot and I didn't sleep at all because I had to make milk. And so it was one of those things where like, you know how you have to keep your calories up if you want to produce milk and all this kind of stuff. So it was a choice in the 45 minutes between feeds was whether you sleep or you eat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I tried for as long as I could to feed the kids. And I was like, yeah, I quit. Like I'm good. We're good. I'm done.
I probably would have done the same.
So did you end up using formula instead of breastfeeding then?
After 7 months, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
You held on for about 7 months.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think I think I gave up maybe like 2 months. And we talked about this before where we got shamed or whatever. And I was like, listen, you
Why?
put your titties over there then.
Yeah.
And you breastfeed. Like it was
why?
hard. Like I was crying all the time and my baby was screaming because he was so hungry. And I
Yeah.
was like, here's a formula and he was fine.
Right?
It's a thing. And it's still, unfortunately, a thing, which it shouldn't be. But I mean, there's people out there who are like, breast is best. And it's like, no, fed is best, bitch. Like,
Right? Non-hungry babies. That's what we're going for.
Exactly. But good for you, man. Like, and you guys did it, just the two of you. I can't believe that.
That's amazing. So did Lawrence take some time off work because he was helping, or was it like 4 weeks is done and he's got to go back to work?
Yeah. They give him some time off, but that was it. And it was like, sorry, you got to work, bud. Like,
Do they know how many kids he has?
So how did you manage then after he left?
Yeah.
I didn't sleep. Like it was literally like, so each baby had a book because I couldn't remember a thing. And then I had a timer. And because they were preemies, we had to wake up every 2.5 hours to feed.
Get their
like,
weight up.
Yeah, right? Because if their weight fell, we'd have to go back to the hospital. So it was one of those things where it was like, no, like clockwork, even if they're not asking for it, you've got to wake them up and you've got to feed them. And so it was a cycle. And my alarm was set for every 2.5 hours. So, you know, between, feeding 2 babies and then pumping and then changing and putting them back to bed, like I literally had maybe 45 minutes before the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't sleep a lot and I cursed a lot and
yeah.
was very angry a lot. But
I don't blame you.
yeah, it's one of those things.
So then, when it came to like doctor's appointments and stuff, then obviously Lawrence would have to take that time off work to take you, or did you ever have to take the babies anywhere by yourself, all 3 of them?
I did at the beginning have to because like Lawrence didn't have a lot of time off work, right?
Yeah.
They've already given him time and
Yeah.
oil and gas is like ruthless. If you're not
They
there
are.
to work, they're just gonna get rid of you.
Yep. They'll replace you.
And I'm like, yo, you need to make money, bro. Like you got
got
3
3
kids, right? And like, man, you go through 30 diapers a day and you're just like, dude, you need to make more money. Like, so yeah, it was me. And sometimes this one time I tried to leave Nixon with somebody. He just cried the whole time. I'm like, okay. So then I started bringing people with me to the appointment so that I didn't have to bring the giant stroller and one baby strapped on to get into an appointment. So yeah, I found a way to make it work.
Wow.
That's super amazing. So obviously, fast forward. When did you go back to work? And when you did go back to work, how did you deal with having to leave your 3 babies?
It was really hard. So I went back to work after the year, Matt, and I ended up getting a nanny from the Philippines, who's my cousin, who didn't work out well, whatever. Anyways.
Sometimes family, it's not best to get them.
No,
it's just not. They just, I don't know what it is. I think both people have different, like they have different expectations of what it is.
especially if they're coming from like another country where they don't have the same values or morals or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and not family isn't always the best, and we know this for a fact because we have a lot of, we're cousins, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so family drama. But she like was supposed to be here to help, and like went through the whole process, got her here, and it was great. And then after a year, she just left and never came back.
Is it because she was like in Canada already? So she's like, I'm here. I'm going to do what I want.
This one's smart. She went back to the Philippines and just never came back. Don't ask.
Well, that was kind of stupid of her. Now you just can't come
and
back
stressful
to Canada.
for you. Yeah.
Well, it was really, really stressful because I'm like, I had to ask my parents to watch my kids because I'm like, well, I don't, what else am I supposed to do? I'm working. It's not like I can be like, hey, I need to take time off like today.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to work, and I had to be there for 6 weeks before I could go on leave. And then I ended up taking 4 years off to be with the kids, to raise them myself.
Oh, you did? So you took 4 years off to raising them?
Yeah, because the cost of childcare versus my paycheck.
I would do the same for sure.
It didn't make sense.
What's the point?
Yeah.
You're just working to pay for someone else to take care of your kids.
That's it. That was my biggest thing is like, if I, like, these are my kids, these are probably the only ones I'm going to have. I might as well spend all the time I can with them.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have any more kids?
I want to have more kids, but the partner who's supposed to give me the other half of it, like, no, he's absolutely done.
Shop's closed.
Oh, 100%. He was like, it was closed when we found out we were having children.
It was closed that very day.
So, okay, so you took time, so you took 4 years off to raise your kids. Did it feel weird going back into like the workforce, or were you like pumped and be like, I'm ready. I'm like ready to go back out there?
It was a little bit of both. Like, I was really sad to leave the kids because that was my life. Like, literally day in and day out, that was my life. And my thing was like instilling the values and instilling like the respect and all those types of things that are like the foundation, right, in the first 4 years. So that's what I got to do. But going back to work, I was like, oh, humans, like adults, I can talk to you, and you are not crying or whining or like throwing something at me.
Actually, you know what? Adults still do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So
they throw tantrums a lot.
Sometimes it's better to be around kids because you can like, kind of calm them. Sometimes some adults, and I'm going to say that's kind of me sometimes, that we just don't. We're just hard-headed people.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that kids are not emotionally regulated. They don't have the developed brain capacity to even know that, right? But adults do, and they still do. They still throw tantrums. So, yeah, at least they have an excuse.
So are your kids right now, are they doing online school or are they at school?
They are at school, 110%. There is a reason why I'm not a teacher.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say that must have been great for you because with the move coming up, you just probably get a lot of stuff done when they're not home.
Yeah, 100%. And I was just like, I don't have the patience to teach. Like, I just like, well, you don't get it. Why are you dumb? Like,
I don't get it either.
Right? I'm like, and for 3, it's like you literally have to have patience for every single child, like at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I could have you and have so much patience and whatever. By the time I get to the second kid, I'm like, well, like, you don't know. And then the third
I don't know.
one, I'm like,
you explain to that one. I'm only explaining.
Go down the line.
Now you two got to figure it out.
You explain this to your siblings. I'm gonna have a drink.
By the third one, I was like, I quit. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, because they're 7 now, do you feel like either one of them will be like, you're too hard on me, or you're too, like, you let this person pass, or like, do your kids say things like that to you?
No, they don't. Sometimes they say, well, why do you give like Nixon more cuddles.
Yeah.
Like, because he asks me for more cuddles. And I'm like, if you want more cuddles, ask mama for more cuddles. And I'll give you more cuddles. Like,
Nixon asks for more cuddles.
yeah, it's just really a mama's boy. Like, is beyond mama's boy.
Aw.
Yeah, it's kind of
You must love that
cute.
because he's your only boy.
I know, I do.
Yeah.
Don't tell the other two.
Just don't let them watch this.
So then growing up then, since you and Lawrence were outnumbered, how did you deal with like tantrums and stuff? Did you guys talk about it before or like?
I don't think they tantrum too much. Like
That's amazing.
they were pretty good. And I think it's because like, you know, okay, you're going to tantrum. Great. Go ahead over there. I got other two calm ones over here. We're just
Yeah.
going to go chill over here until you're done.
Yeah.
And then they'd see that I wouldn't give them attention. So they're like, oh, okay, I'm done. coming
Give
over there.
give me some cuddles.
Right.
So you say, if I like asked you, I'm going to be like, Aileen, I need cuddles. You'd literally give me cuddles?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, after this, I'm going to ask for cuddles.
Right here. I have like the perfect, like,
So guys, if you want some cuddles, Brian knows where she lives, so ask Brian.
Oh my God.
Okay, so what does your day-to-day, or what did your day-to-day look like when you had all three kids at home? Like, you must have had to stick to a routine or else things would fall apart.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that?
it was 100% routine. Like, you wake up, brush your teeth, have breakfast. And it was like every single day, wake up, brush your teeth, have breakfast. And then and then I have to prepare lunch because it takes them forever to eat.
Yeah.
And then by the time you're done cleaning, they're like, I'm hungry, mama.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I just fed you. Like,
Yeah.
okay. So it was literally like, okay, fine, let's have lunch. And then we would go do an activity, go for a walk, go outside, go science center, do something fun. Mm-hmm. And then it was nap time and as we drive home, or nap time when we got home. And then it was like, oh, we got to cook again because you're going to be hungry again. So it was literally, that's what we did. It was always like, maybe centered around meals. Maybe that's why they eat a lot. But it was literally eat, rest, eat again, rest and eat again.
But what about the times where, like, when they were toddlers or before they could even walk? Like, how did you know, like, okay, I'm going to pick this baby up, put it over there. She's going to eat and da-da-da. Like, how do you juggle that?
It was everyone did everything at the same time, the exact same time. So if it was nap time, oh, y'all going to sleep. Like, I don't care if you're not tired, but you're all going to sleep.
I'm going to close this door and that's your problem.
And it was because I would have zero time in the day for like fluctuation. So 7:00, wake up, everybody's waking up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way to get through a day without repeating yourself 3 times, right? So like, I couldn't have one nap and then 20 minutes later another one start a nap and then the other one maybe not nap. Like, there was no time in the day to just like deviate from a schedule.
So we know that you're a tired mama. You know, Giselle and I are, but we feel like we have no excuse.
Right? I'm sitting here like, shit, I was complaining a lot.
Well, the thing is, you can, but I can because I have a 15-year-old. Although I have to say, it's a different kind of tired with a 15-year-old.
Excuse me, who says you can't? You can.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Like right now, with my life, like with like 3 boys eating at my house and stuff, it's. Legit,
a lot.
Like on Tuesdays and even today, like I have to make dinner before I leave, or else they're going out to eat somewhere. I was like, do not eat out, you save money. So, anyways, you're tired. Was there ever a time where you're like, fuck it, I'm so tired, I'm just gonna leave this shit. I don't care. I'm not gonna clean it for a couple of days because you are just tired. You just need to go through your motion. Have you ever just let things like
100%.
You're just like, I'm just going to close this door. It's messy, not think about it.
No, like the whole kitchen island will be full of dishes because I'm like, that's tomorrow's problem, not today. Because I can't stand anymore. I can't function. Like there's days where I'm like, you know what, I quit. Like, oh yeah, you want to read? Sure, here's an iPad. Read that. Yeah. Like there are days like, you know, there's not enough energy, not enough coffee to keep me going to the end of the day. Yeah. And it's like, I quit. Like, literally, I quit. Yeah. I'm like, it's mama's time. Yeah. You go do something else.
So once Lawrence walks through that door, do you ever be like, bye?
You were thinking the same what I was thinking.
Yeah. There are days, like you know, to be fair, he's also working, right? And I don't want to just like walk away from him and be like, see ya. Yeah. But there are nights where I'm like, oh yeah, the girls are going out, we're going out. Like, this is the night we're going. Yeah. From this time to this time, you're on your own. But Yeah, and he's been really good. I have to say, like he'll give me weekends off, or he'll fly me to Vancouver. I get like 48 hours of my sister time, and then I come home and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
What a great
Yeah.
husband.
And he probably knows too that you come back feeling way more happier and energized because, like, happy mom, happy life.
Yeah.
Like,
legit.
yeah, for sure.
So we know we just talked about how expensive it was. So when you found out that you were having triplets, did you guys like sit down and financially talk about like how are we going to afford this? What are we going to do? Like, yeah, you guys both have great jobs, but everything's triple, like triple, you know, like did that stress you guys out, the like the financial part of having 3 kids?
It didn't, because we didn't talk about it. So we
Oh,
were like,
gotcha.
Nice.
hey, we're having kids.
I like that.
What do we do? And it was like, oh, it's on sale. Let's buy 3. And we were lucky. Like, we have a lot of friends who at the beginning were able to give us a lot of hand-me-downs, and like, you know, grandparents want to help and this kind of thing. So we were really lucky at the beginning where people were like, no, here's some clothes. Here's some stuff. Here's some gift certificates and whatever. And so it was like, as they got older and they quickly started to grow out of everything, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta buy 3 pairs of pants, like 3 pairs of shoes, 3 pairs of, I was like, oh God, this is getting expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
And then school starts and you're like, oh, 3 pairs of 3 backpacks,
Right?
3 new pairs of shoes. And
that's it, right? And so that's when we were like, okay, later down, we're like, oh shit, this shit's expensive. Let's sit down and talk about what we're gonna do.
Just wait till they get into junior high and high
God.
school. It does. It really. You know, when they say things get easier and stuff, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't when they get older. And I'm just like thinking about like the expenses that's coming up too.
Yeah.
Like you got 3 tuitions.
I know.
And it's not like one after the other for the year.
Yeah.
It's like at the same time.
yeah. Well, you just pick your favorite and that one's going to college.
You're like, you're going to college today. You can come back and teach them what you learned.
It's a 3 for 1.
Right? Oh, trust me, if I ever see a 3 for 1, I'm like, we need to get on that.
Yeah, I bet. So I've met your kids once, and they are so well behaved, and I'm having trouble wrapping my head around disciplining my 1 toddler. So, what tips do you have for other parents, or of how you got to discipline them and what you learned from it?
For me, it was because I was outnumbered that I had to like stop the behavior right away.
Mm-hmm.
There was like, no, like, oh, that's okay, just don't do it again. It was like, no, actually just don't do that again.
Yeah.
Like, and so we did a lot of corners. So literally it's kind of a running joke with my friends where we have pictures of the triplets with their head against the wall.
Yeah.
Everywhere. At Princeton, at Harvard, at a store, at the mall. Like, it was like, no, turn around, put your head against the wall.
Yeah.
And it was just because I couldn't have them trying to copy each other. They're like, oh, she got in trouble because she did that. I probably shouldn't do that. It's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so like, as they get older, they try to push that barrier a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, if I told your sister not to do it, that means you too.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't change for any of you. Just don't do it. And so it was really a lot of consistency, a lot of like nipping it in the butt right away.
Yep.
And Lawrence and I were both very much on the same page with how we discipline the kids and how quickly.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that happened. So I
That's
think
important.
because we were both doing it and both like I think they saw, right? Like the terror in each other. They're like, oh God, I could put my head against the wall, like right here, right now. Like,
Yeah.
you're kidding, right? So I think they just learned to stop, and they also know that I'm crazy. So they're like, oh, she'll just.
They're
do
scared
that.
of you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was that mom that was like, hey, if you don't stop, we're leaving the store with a.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I just leave cartfuls of stuff in the middle of the aisle. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
And they'd just be crying. I'm like, no, told you.
Yeah.
In the car. So
You actually pulled through with that. You know, I tried to do that with Jaden when he was little, and I was pissed because he didn't clean. I was like, all of this is going in the garbage, and then I'm like shoving it, and I was gonna throw it in the garbage, and halfway through the hallway, I was like, this is expensive. I can't throw this out.
I have to buy this again.
So I put them in the corner, and he thought that I threw it in the garbage. And like probably for a couple of months, I realized there was like a bag of garbage of
Oh, his
toys. And I
toys.
was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I forgot it's here. And we have all new toys now. God, Arlene.
You know what's funny too is that it's just really fucked up how now with so many women like shaming each other, I've been reading all the time about positive discipline and stuff like that, and people are like, timeouts don't work, here's why. And I'm just like, Okay, timeouts don't work. Obviously, I'm not going to hit my kid. And like, it's like process of elimination. It's like, hey, what the fuck do I do then? But honestly, timeouts have worked for me.
Yeah.
And I put Ava in timeout. One time I put her in timeout and I forgot she was there. But like,
Whoops.
it gives them a chance to regulate themselves, think about what they did and why it was wrong, and that, oh shit, I'm never going to do it again. So that's a great way to do it. And
But also, I feel like our kids, we're all different. So timeouts could work. It worked for me, except when my dad was around. Fuck, he's always like, and Jaden would be like, no, and I was like, don't. And Jaden would have, and he's like, it's okay. And then by the time my dad was holding him, I was like, Dad, like, you can't do that or whatever, you know. And Jaden wouldn't flinch because I'm like, if you flinch, you wait till we get home or whatever. But my point is, we are different. Our kids are different. Yeah. Whatever works for you and for your kid is different. So sometimes people are like, well, timeouts work for me. How come they didn't work for you? It's like, listen, I just don't want to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think we just have to be really super patient with each other. What works for you might not work for Jizzy, you know?
Oh, 100%, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
kids are different.
Like the mom shaming thing just boggles me. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, you do you, I'll do me.
Exactly.
We good. Like,
you ain't breastfeeding my kid.
Yeah, it's like, what? Why does what I do affect you so much?
Right?
I don't understand.
What's it to you? Really? What's it to you?
Yeah. What do you get out of it?
No.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What's the worst advice that you've gotten that you were like, nah?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh.
Because you have 3.
I don't know. People always try to give you advice.
Yeah.
Oh, you should do it this way. You should, the titas. Oh, you know what they said back there? I'm like, yo, man, I don't care. Like, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. We're okay.
That Asian culture.
Yeah. And it's like forceful. I can't remember off the top of my head, like what people have said, but one of those things where they're just like, you should do it this way. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Thanks.
Like, I'll get right on that. Thank you.
It's funny because you have those titas. It's funny because even as adults, we'll like be at parties, of course, pre-COVID, okay? So I already know you people are judging.
That too, the COVID shaming.
Yeah. So sometimes like, and we're adults, like Giselle and I will be like at a party and like a tita will say something. I was like, okay. And I was like, and like, well, like,
talk behind her back.
Yeah, as if we're like 10 years old. Like we're so
like, we're not disrespectful to her. We'll do it behind her back.
Behind her back, because obviously we're trying to be respectful. But it turns out it like gets me worked up because I'm about to like start dropping F-bombs. Just be like, listen, I'm a freaking adult, okay? So don't treat me like I'm 10 years old.
Yeah. If I want to go like on my 3rd serving of lumpia, just fucking let me, okay?
Oh,
like I'm tired.
So speaking of kids being different, you had to raise 3 different personalities, and so there's those 3 personalities and your husband's obviously. So how do you deal with each one? Because they must be really, really different. Like, what kinds of personalities do they have, and how do you know when to cater to that?
So you're right; they're all so different, and I don't know. It's just learning as they grow, like how each of them reacts. So, like I have my son Nixon is a complete mama's boy, super sensitive, and just wants to be loved and love. Like
wants cuddles.
That's what he wants. And so if he's having a bad day or he just needs something, he's always like, "Mama, I just need a hug." And so that's what we nurture. And then we try to nurture whatever he needs at that point. My one daughter's an eager beaver. Like must get 100% or she's gonna freak out. Like,
oh my gosh,
teaching her how to, it's okay that we get things wrong, and that's how we learn. So it's just trying to teach her that it's okay. You little eager beaver, calm down. Like, so it's one of those things where you're like, you're good. It's okay to make a mistake. Yeah. And then my other daughter, she is very artistic and very creative, and so when it comes to school, she don't give a fuck. Like she doesn't care. But when it comes to dancing and drawing and singing and piano, she's all about it. She's eager. So it's just learning their personalities and then also learning how to nurture them and nature them, right? Like there's so many things where it's like yelling at one kid is not going to work for the other. Like all I have to do is like snap my fingers and look at Nixon and he's already in tears. Like, I'm sorry. The girls, you do that and they're like, and mom. Yeah.
Oh, it's because they're girls.
Right. And so for them, it's like literally talking them down.
Yeah.
And like showing them how, like trying to talk them through whatever situation it is. So Yeah, it's hard because, you know, sometimes you just have no patience and you're just like, fuck, I'm so tired. Like,
Yeah.
just listen or just stop crying. And so trying to get through those days where you're like, okay, have more patience, Aileen. Each kid is different. Don't yell at this one. They're going to freak out.
Yeah. Can you tell the girls apart?
Yes.
Well, she
They're
can.
very different.
Well, because you see them all the time.
Yeah.
Have they ever tried to pretend they were the other?
Yes.
And then they tried to fool you? You're like, you guys came out of me. You ain't fooling this, mom.
Yeah, you're not fooling this one, but they are certainly fooling their father.
Really?
No way.
100%.
That's funny.
Yeah, when they were like 3 or 4, they're like, Mama, switch our colors. So Mila wears purple and Arya wears pink. So if you're ever wondering which child is which, just look for the pink and it's Arya 100% of the time. So they've switched their colors on their dad, and they'll be like turned around, like all they see is ponytails with like the pink or the purple.
Yeah.
And he's like, Arya, get over here. Arya. And he'll like yell for Arya, and he's looking at her. And Mila will be like, no, Daddy, Mila. Don't do like he gets so angry
So
at
funny.
them. But they know, and they know that people can't tell them apart. So they will
Yeah.
play that game.
That's hilarious.
So does he still have a hard time figuring who's who?
Yeah, even when they're not switched colors.
Oh my God, you know what they can do when they're teenagers?
Right?
I was home, Dad. What are you talking
I was
about?
upstairs this whole time.
And then it's the same person walking up and down.
just
It's like,
changing
Mila,
their pajamas.
like, no, Aria, no, Dad. Like, and they're the same when one's doing whatever.
Yeah.
Lawrence is gonna listen to this and be like,
He's
"Don't
like,
fucking
"No."
give them ideas."
I'm already pre-warning you, Lawrence.
So we wanted to play a game with you.
Okay.
It's called 5-second rule, and you probably already seen it on Ellen. But we don't have our time. I just realized we don't have the time.
I'm gonna count in my head, and I'm just gonna go.
Okay, so it's gonna be like a speed round. Just spit it all out. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to take turns asking the questions?
No, you'll ask the questions, and I'll go.
All right.
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
You ready to go? You want to have another sip of
Yeah,
your
okay,
drink?
let me
I can top you off. We already topped off. You need to drink a little bit. There you go.
Okay. It tastes like juice.
I know, right? It's dangerous.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, here we go.
I'm nervous.
5 seconds. You have to name 3.
Oh shit.
Name 3 worst places you've ever changed a diaper.
A bench. A Chinese restaurant, and the back of the car.
Okay.
Okay. 3 places you've dealt with a meltdown.
The mall. The Princeton Library. Oh, in Boston.
Okay.
Like the place.
The place.
Okay. 3 ways you keep things spicy with your husband.
Anywhere, anytime, any place.
I love that. All right. 3 ridiculous reasons why your kids cried.
Oh shit. Wrong snack, wrong toy, and wrong name.
Oh, man. Okay. 3 places you like to hide to get alone time.
Oh God. The bathroom, the closet, the car.
Nice.
3 snacks you don't like sharing with the kids.
Goldfish. Fruit by the foot. And a cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I wouldn't share that either.
No.
3 things you like to do with your kids in lockdown.
Puzzles, coloring, and plays.
3 things you indulge in after you put your kids to bed.
Chips, chocolate, soda.
Yeah. 3 celebrities who you would want as a nanny to your kids.
Yes.
Ellen, The Rock, and LeBron James.
Oh, good one.
Oh, why?
You should get like an eye candy. I don't know if Lawrence is gonna like that.
It's like The Rock shows up. I'm here to babysit your kid.
You're like, I need babysitting too.
In that case, put Shamar Moore in there then.
Oh my God, you used to love Shamar Moore.
What?
Did you used to love Shamar Moore?
Yeah.
I was saying.
Okay, can I just say that I was following Shmar more on Instagram? Then he fucking pissed me off because I'm like, I really hate the post that you made, so I unfollowed him.
Oh,
But he's still hot.
Hear that, Shamar?
Yeah, I should do that.
And just look at him. It's okay. He doesn't have to talk.
He doesn't have to talk.
Yeah.
So hot.
All right, here we go. 3 things you used to do with your husband that is harder now to do with kids.
Shit, have sex in the bed. Oh God, travel and drive anywhere.
I think that's like across the
Yeah,
board.
right?
Yeah. And finally, 3 pieces of advice you wish for your kids.
Oh, be kind, be respectful, and just have fun.
Those are good ones. Nice. Nice.
Well, thanks for playing with us.
Yeah, that was really fun.
You're just like
little
anytime,
stressful.
anywhere. You're like, wait, I gotta. Well, we feel like you can answer this. You got 3 kids,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of
You
like,
gotta learn. You probably learn how to think on the fly all the time,
You don't have a choice.
right?
what are certain things that when you go to parent-teacher interviews, like what does the teacher say about your kids?
They do say that they're very well behaved. And that they're actually pretty good. Considering they're all in the same class, they make different friends. So to me, that makes me happy because I always worry that because they're in the same class that they're just going to stick to each other and not make friends.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing for me, is to make sure that they could socialize on their own. And like we all know, social skills are part of the biggest like life skills that you can have.
Oh yeah.
And so that was a huge like scare for me. I was really worried. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna have like weird children that just stick to each other. But they make friends, so that's good. And at school they're very different academically. So
Was that a choice though that they were put together in the same class ever since they started? Like, did you request that or?
it was our choice.
Okay.
Mostly really selfish for me because that's one teacher I have to deal with versus 3.
It's true.
And we're in Chestermere, as Brian knows. But we're in Chestermere and it's a smaller community. And so there wasn't actually enough room to have them split out in kindergarten. So there was only like 1 afternoon class and 2 morning classes.
Yeah.
So because they were together in kindergarten and they did well socializing, the teacher was like, you're okay to keep them together. So yeah, but they don't know when we move to BC that they're going to get split out. I haven't told them yet.
You haven't.
And I have to like work it into a conversation that makes them like it doesn't scare them. So yeah, that's a tough conversation I'm going to have to try to figure out how we're going to have.
So, actually, so I was supposed to actually be living in Vancouver already, but pulled the plug on that. Thank God, because pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Did you research the schools they're going to, like which schools they were going to? Because it was so stressful finding a school, because it's different the way they structure schools here versus Vancouver. It was so stressful. Like they were ranked of like academics or what they were doing or public versus private. Where did you decide to for them to go?
So there's I looked at the school and they seem to be a good school. Like we have some friends out there, so we've been asking around. But the way they have their school divisions are very specific to catchment, right? And so it was like I was gonna get to a point where I was just gonna use my sister's address and send them to school somewhere else because
We were gonna do that.
Yeah, because she like her school is really good and she's out in Burnaby, which is not where we're gonna be, but she's like, yeah, use my address, I don't care. But the catchment school is actually pretty good out where we are. It's a little bit further out, so the classes are a bit smaller. So it was hard, like, and because we're coming in the middle of the year, we don't get to go to the school that we want to go to. We're actually just going to a different catchment school. Not the greatest reviews. I'm a little bit worried about it, but it is also only like 4 months of school.
I can't remember. Langley and Surrey are pretty close to each other. Actually, you should check one out. The school that I wanted to actually have Jaden go to was close to South Surrey, and people are like, why do you want to live to South Surrey? I was like, because they have the best of everything. It's like really close to White Rock.
Yeah.
But their schools is the #1 ranked school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I should. I'll share you the link of like the entire school. But it was super stressful finding a school to go to, and because they're very, very specific.
Yeah,
and you really need to know which ones, because they tell you how many graduating of each, because he was going into high school.
Oh,
yeah. So you have to make sure when they transition going to, you got to make sure that they're there.
Yeah. No,
So
for
so
sure.
different from here to there.
No, it is. And I don't know, the people I've spoken to, not the friendliest, but also like, bigger city. I'm going to,
You're going to encounter that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to take it like a grain of salt and then see how it goes.
When is the big move?
Lawrence leaves on Saturday.
Okay.
And then I leave on the 6th of February.
With the kids.
Yes.
Wow, that's coming up
crazy.
soon.
Yeah. So.
Well, good luck with that and with everything else. But before we go, because we're almost out of time, we actually have a surprise for you.
Oh.
We got all the kids to send us a video on what they love about you.
Oh my goodness. What?
Yeah, so I'm going to play it for you, but because this is going to be on podcast.
Here you go. AJ got us the box of Kleenex now.
Okay, are you ready?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Make sure they can hear it off
Yeah.
the mic.
I love you, Mommy, because you make the best food for me. You're always keeping me company, and you're always helping me do homework. I love you, Mommy.
So which one is she? She's Arya because she's wearing pink, right?
No, that's me. Like, we're wearing the same thing.
Oh, okay. All right, next.
I love you, Mommy, because you make good food. You're always taking care of us, and you always do everything for us. I love you, Mommy.
Last but not least, Mr. Nixon.
I love you, Mommy, because you make the best food, and you keep me company. Love you. Bye.
We're coming over for your cooking because your kids say.
Oh, that's the sweetest. Oh, thanks,
Oh,
guys.
yeah, and they all said you make good food. So now, I
we're
was
coming
watching
over.
that. I was like, she must make really good food.
You don't need to tell us your address.
We'll just ask Brian.
Brian's gonna just drive us there.
Well, you're always welcome.
So, like Jizzy said, we are out of time. So thank you so much. We wish you all the best. I know you will kill it out in Vancouver because you say you're a crazy person, so it's fine. You'll just do just fine in Vancouver. So it was a delight having you at the studio. But before we leave, we wanted to ask you, what have you learned from each of your kids individually about yourself?
About myself. Oh boy. That women are amazing.
Yeah.
That moms are the best. And it's the hardest job in the entire world. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like those hugs and kisses literally are like, it doesn't matter. Nothing else in the day matters. Mm-hmm. So my kids have taught me that love is real. Mm-hmm. And they're like the best little humans ever. Yeah. I love them.
Oh, that's awesome. And I agree with that women are amazing. Yeah. Motherhood is amazing. And
all of it
it's
is
hard, right? That's why we're here.
Tired, y'all.
Yeah, so are we. Let's go home, guys. So thank you so much, Aileen. All the best out in Vancouver. Thanks. That's it for us today, Ham Fam. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos on YouTube. And don't forget that we are on Facebook now, so give us a follow. Any stories or anything that you guys want us to cover, or any ideas of guests that you would like to come on the show, or if you want to be a guest on the show, please slide right into our DMs and let us know. We would love to have you. And so that's it for us. Remember to wash your hands, wear your masks, be kind to one another, and love yourself even on the hardest days. Bye.
Bye, guys.